Sorry about that. Doesn't even matter who the next Speaker of the House really fucking is, if insurrectionists are running the show. Now, 2 years after the Klan attack on the Capitol, another group of right-wing extremists are attempting to take over, and they're coming from within. January 6th was the second anniversary of the Klan attack on the Capitol, and on that day, a group of right-wing extremists breached the U.S. Capitol, declaring that this is our house, which it wasn't. They ransacked the place and attempted to hunt down Vice Squatter Mike Pence and Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, with the intention of staging a coup d'etat. 2 years later, we are witnessing another group of right-wing extremists attempting to take over, and this time they're staging an insurrection against their own party by refusing to allow a new speaker to be elected unless their demands are met, and unlike 2 years ago, they're going to be very fucking successful. Um, on January 5th, Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy endured a third straight day of ritual humiliation as his party was unable to get the 218 votes needed to grant him the speakership after 11 rounds of voting, and this is the first time since the year 1859, which was on the cusp of a civil war, that the process has taken this many votes. Now, as Congressman-elect Jeff Jackson, who's a Democrat from North Carolina, had quipped up, when it went to the 10th ballot, the last time it took this many ballots to elect a speaker, Davy Crockett had a vote. A group of about 20 defecting members continues to vote against McCarthy, switching back and forth between alternatives and giving angry speeches about the swamp and McCarthy's character flaws. They're getting plenty of screen time and seem to be enjoying themselves, but they do have an agenda beyond simply stopping the hated McCarthy from becoming speaker. As much as they desire that outcome, they want to run the fucking place. As the New York Times laid out, most of these insurrectionists are members of the House Freedom Caucus. The majority of them are election deniers, and all but one of the incumbents were objectors to the electoral vote count 2 years ago. 17 of these people were endorsed by the former squatter Trump himself, although they don't seem to care about his opinion since they are all ignoring his entreaties to vote for Kevin McCarthy. The all-but Representative Lauren Boebert of Colorado are from very safe red districts where their voters love to see the RINO establishment take a beating, and they all have independent fundraising capabilities through the use of right-wing media. It's been hard to pin down the specifics of what they want out of all this aside from the total mortification of Kevin McCarthy, but over the last day or so, a list of demands has emerged. The one that has been touted as the most important is the requirement that only one member is necessary to vote to vacate that chair, which is essentially a call for a no-confidence vote against the Speaker, and one can understand why McCarthy was reluctant to grant that under these circumstances. If he can't even get them to vote for him in the first place, it's highly likely it will be used with abandon any time he looks at one of them sideways. Now, according to Robert Costa of CBS News last night, there's much more, and very much more. They also want a number of rule changes, budget promises, and committee guarantees, making the Freedom Caucus central to the House. Now, here. Now, I'm going to turn this around for a minute, and this is what Robert tweeted. If this deal goes through and McCarthy becomes Speaker, you're looking at a House where McCarthy is Speaker, but the Freedom Caucus is at the table on all big things like rules for floor, stand-ups on budgets, and spreading HFC movements to key fiscal committees like budget, etc., app props. It's comparable, as one person puts it, to Boehner welcoming the Tea Party into leadership in 2011 and making the RSC's right wing a powerful force on all tricky fiscal and spending items. Others say it could tie McCarthy's hands in terms of any deals with President Biden. Now, the Florida representative, the pedophile Matt Gaetz, appeared on Faux News and confirmed that Kevin McCarthy got the Speaker role, even though Kevin McCarthy isn't my jockstrap. And even though it's correct, Kevin McCarthy is negotiating to turn the Speaker of the House into a ceremonial position, and surely he can keep that big Elvis Matt Gaetz charged that he squatted in illegally. Although, if it's necessary to let Boebert have it as a part of the deal, I'm sure he'll agree to that too, and nobody has ever wanted that title as much as Kevin McCarthy wants this one, and even though he's not qualified for it. Now, none of what they are giving away in this negotiation really changes anything. McCarthy isn't really giving up much of substance, as they have demonstrated this week. They already run everything. With the majority this narrow, it only takes a handful of shameless shit disturbers to bring everything to a crashing halt until they get their fucking way, and let's fucking face it. 90% of the GOP caucus is more or less on board with the Freedom Caucus policy agenda, and they may squabble a bit about the details, but overall they're fine with it. Now, this Congress was always going to be a circus show, and we knew that going in, and when it became clear that the margin was so narrow, it was also clear that they would hold their usual oversight spectacles without any restraint. The country can survive that, although it's a degrading exercise for everyone involved. It's hard to see how the nation stays unscathed when they when they hold the debt ceiling hostage in order to destroy everything they can. Now, with this speaker pageant, and they're proving that they will do it, and nobody, least of all Kevin McCarthy or any speaker that they produce, can do a fucking thing about it. And we went through this back in 2011 and 2013 when Republicans used the debt ceiling to prolong the recovery from the financial crisis. And you will note that they that they acquiesced to raising it during the Trump years, and they're 10 times as volatile now. And it remains to be seen if Kevin McCarthy manages to abase himself enough to squeak through and get the ceremonial speaker's gavel, which he already did, even though he shouldn't have, unless Republicans all throw up their hands and decide to vote for one of the insurrectionists or 20 obscure backbench alternatives like Florida Representative Byron Donalds or Oklahoma Representative Kevin Hern. It's hard to imagine anyone else wanting the job at this point. Now, maybe that's the best argument McCarthy has going for him right now. He's the only one who is self-destructive enough to want it in the first place, and he'll do anything absolutely to keep it. And the pedophile Matt Gaetz gets that, and I won't be fucking surprised if the rest of the holdouts see it too. Kevin McCarthy will make a very nice Freedom Caucus ceremonial bobblehead, but maybe they'll even let him keep his parking place. Now, if you like the video, you can get the video, like, and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. You can also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. If you want to support my work even further, you can donate to my Patreon link, which you can find in the About section of YouTube. And for just a little, as a few bucks a month, your donation can help me a long way, and thanks for listening.